Hey everyone, welcome to Live Trading Thursday. My name is David Verbruggen. I'm going to be your host today. Glad to be back with you again. Guys, go ahead and start getting those tickers in the comments. You know how it goes. This time with us here is pretty short. So oftentimes, the tickers that come in at the very end, they kind of get left off. And we definitely don't want that. We want to be able to answer all the questions you have. So go ahead and get those questions in, the trades that you are in. Any trades that you're considering, or historical trades too. That's perfectly fine too. We can analyze that and see how that went. So I'd love to help you guys out with that. Keep in mind that all the examples in this live trading session should be viewed for educational purposes only and not taken as trading or investment advice at this time. All right, guys. So again, get those tickers in the Q&A, and I'm going to share my screen here. There we go. We're going to do a quick recap what we're looking at. Last week, if you remember, we had this sideways action going, right? I mean, it was just straight sideways, and we had a little bit of this ascending wedge going on just because of the lows. The lows just kept getting a little higher, a little higher. Even with that, I got to be honest with you. I personally was not expecting a breakout to the upside. I just wasn't. I really thought that we would be heading down more. But maybe, it's a new year and people are optimistic. So maybe that's part of what caused it. But we did break out of this line. You see this line? That's a pretty good line right there, actually. So that worked up there, and we had a very confident breakthrough of that line, and then moved up. We've been moving up pretty strong for several days here. And now where are we? We're right up at this 200 simple near this downtrending resistance line. Remember me saying, there was the possibility of us moving up. And if we did move up, we would most likely be retesting this resistance area with the downtrending line and the 200 simple. So that's where we are right now. So now we're back again at a decision point. What's going to happen from here? Are we going to break this resistance and continue up? That is a possibility. If that happens, what does that look like? If we break this resistance, and if we do, it would probably be a strong move up, like a move up with conviction. We would break these highs right here, most likely. And so we would be making a higher high. Well, at that point, what do we have? You've got this low, you got a high, a low, a higher high, a higher low. Then we would have made a higher high at that point. At that point, you got to start wondering, are we in for a bullish run again? Now, it just doesn't make sense when you look at the economy, look at the numbers, look at the inflation. It just doesn't make sense that we would do that. It makes more sense that we would move down. But the market has surprised us before, and it could surprise us again. So if that's expected, that, hey, I shouldn't be surprised if the market surprises us. Then we shouldn't be surprised. Okay, I think I just confused myself. Anyways, okay, so let's move on from that. The whole point is we should just go with the flow. Just, we're dancing with the elephant here, right? And so we shouldn't be surprised. It shouldn't ever be something like, oh my goodness, I didn't see that coming. It's just like, all right, it's doing what it's doing, and I'm going to get in line. That's what we need to do as traders. But what if it doesn't do that, right? It hasn't broken this yet. It didn't break it here or here or here. I mean, this downtrending line, let's zoom out slightly again. Right about there we go. That's a pretty solid line. As far as drawing lines go on a chart, this is pretty. It really is. And we're right up there again. So there's a pretty good chance that it does fail and move down again. So if that happens, maybe at that point we would go down and make a lower low. I've kind of feel like I've been saying that for a while. I said it back here where it's like, oh, if we bounce down, we're probably going to make a lower low. And then we came back again. Oh, if we bounce out, we're going to make a lower low. And we came down some and then moved up again. So we'll have to see what happens there, right? But that's what we're looking at there. Guys, again, go ahead and get those tickers in, get those questions in. Love to answer those for you guys. You guys always seem to bring up some really good potential trades to look at and analyze. So it's just a lot of fun when you guys do that. We're going to go ahead and get started off here just by looking at a few different things. First one, this isn't super tradable right now, but kind of caught my eye looking at airlines. I've got an aviation background, so I'm always kind of looking at that industry just for fun. And pulled up United Airlines this morning. I was like, wow, goodness gracious. I mean, look at this stock take off. That's more like a rocket right there. It was a week and a half ago down at 37. Now it's at 50. I was like, man, what is United doing? That's crazy. Then I looked at American. Where'd they go? American Airlines. Similar idea. Just like massive gap last night too. And today up high. I mean, even just yesterday, it's 15, 13. I mean, that's a 5% move right there. Actually, a little more than that. That's a little more than that. Maybe more like an 8% move just today, right? Delta Airlines, very similar as well, just rocketing up, crazy. Southwest, not as much, but you guys are aware of all the issues they had over the Christmas break, and so that could be dampening that some. And I looked at it and I found it interesting. The reason for all of that is they really see that travel's coming back to pre-COVID levels now. It's coming back to normal. And these airlines are now also starting to become profitable once again. I believe Southwest already was profitable already, which is maybe why they're not rocketing up as much as well, because they'd already reached that point. So anyway, that was just kind of a fun thing to look at. Hey, Benjamin, I see you on there. Thanks for being on. Really appreciate it. All right, let's look at a couple that could be traded pretty soon here. Just depending on what happens. I started looking at some oil stocks. We'll start off with MRO. Oil, it had nice, crazy run up. And then, I mean, it really was, that's an exhaustion move right there. And it fell down pretty hard and then moved up again, moved down. So, that's kind of what we're looking at. And then you start to look at this most recent action. Nice bounce up off of this line. And you start to wonder, is this going to be another move up? Is this starting to? So this could be one to keep an eye on, just in case it does want to start to make another run up. Same with APA. Nice move up today. On this one, there is kind of this line to contend with. Let's draw somewhere around there. It's not super clear right now, but I would want to see that broken. But if it breaks that and then starts making higher highs, higher lows, that could be something we could look at as well. Let me look at MRO again. I feel like this one's already kind of broken, right? I mean, you draw a line right about there. If that's your downtrending resistance line, see how it's broken. So that's why MRO to me looks a little bit better already. We could leave the line on there right now. Looking at Devon, here we go. I've already got that downtrending line, and we're right at that resistance line, that downtrending resistance line that we're looking at for MRO. So, if this continues up and it breaks that, you would want to see it move up some more and then come back down, produce a bounce. And then, if you can get a line going in this direction, something like that, maybe it comes back down, moves up, comes back down, bounces again, then you could be looking at a potential trade right there. So I'm just pointing that out for oil, like the energy stocks, just because, they have made some really nice runs up. And if you can catch them at the beginning of that, then that could be really good to look at as well. Potentially that could be a really good trade if you can catch at the beginning. It's just the hard part's cashing. Now, Halliburton's a little bit different here. It hadn't really come down like what the others looked like. So you can see this almost like a triple top here. But then it broke that a few days ago and is off to the races. Earnings coming up as well, just a few days. And one more Oxy to look at. This line, there you go. Actually, this could be pulled back a little farther even. So right about there. Might even come back to here as well, potentially. But that's a decent, just steady uptrending support line. Same thing, like, a really good day to have caught this one might have been this day right here. If you got a bounce up off that line, confirmation the next day, and now it's starting to move up. So that could be one to keep an eye on as well. Yep. All right, Benjamin, I see you got perfect. You got several tickers in there. Love it. We already looked at MRO. That was one of the first ones we looked at here. So we're going to move on and take a look at, you want to look at Tesla. Interesting thing with Tesla here. So you can see it's been getting hammered, right? It had that split, which was fine. It was needed. You can see a triple top, 1, 2, 3. And then it's moved down, and see it was at that top back in September. You can see that. See how you have that scrolling date now at the bottom. That's super cool. That's a brand new feature added. So September 20th, it was at the high, and then I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought. We go 310, right about 310 is the high. Now we're at 120. Oof. So less than half. It really has dropped quite a bit. If you guys remember, what we used to do, what's hot and what's not. We switched to this live trading deal back in, I think it was July. What's hot, what's not. Tesla would be what's not, right? I mean, this thing has tanked a lot. 310 down to 120, and it used to be lower. It was down at like 102. So it was just last week, was that Friday? It was worth a third of what it was back in September. So a lot of craziness going on there. And you guys have probably seen it in the news. They're saying Elon Musk has, set the record for most wealth lost. Well, you have to understand it's not like his bank account's getting drained or anything like that. His net worth is tied up so much into the Tesla stock. And while, he's setting those records, he probably also set records beforehand of like the biggest increase in the shortest amount of time, because Tesla stock just boomed and went crazy. So because his net worth is tied so much into the value of the Tesla stock, when it drops to a third in a matter of a few months, he's going to lose, a couple $100 billion worth of his net worth. But you Google what his current net worth is, and it's still $180 billion or something. Like he's fine, he's doing okay. Don't need to start a GoFundMe yet. But so that's kind of an interesting thing there. So that was a fun one to look at, Benjamin. Appreciate that. Also, you got Apple. Let's take a look at Apple. Oops, AAPL. There we go. All right, so Apple, look at that. Got a nice downtrending resistance line there. Tech has been getting hurt quite a bit lately, just has. And so Apple, no different, was up near 175, 176, got all the way down to 125 there. And, up a little bit this week, but everything is right. I mean, almost everything. The market's been up a little bit this week, so we'll have to see. It's coming right up on this previous support line. And so we'll have to see if it breaks that. But, if it kind of just continues the performance of what Apple has been doing recently, you would expect that might fall down. So here's something for you. Let's say the market decides to turn around, right? Got the S&P here and looking nice today too as well. Let's say tomorrow, say that just bounces down off of that resistance line, and Apple bounces down off that resistance line. That could be a pretty good opportunity for a put or a bear put or something like that. Let's just take a look at what that would look like. We got earnings coming up on February 2nd, so we wouldn't want to hold on to it that long. But generally, a put, you're not going to hold on to that long. It might be a few days or a few weeks. Imagine if you got into a put on this day right here, November 1. How long would you really would have wanted to be in that? Me personally, I might have been out the next day. I might have. You could have stayed in another day, but I mean, it didn't. That's a 2-3 day move right there, and then you're going to want to get out. So if it does the same thing here, if it were to move down, it could move down even to 120 in 3 days. If it does another one of these moves right here, Apple, I mean, the nice thing is the liquidity is going to be off the charts, right? Look at that. That's almost pegged for as good as you can get as far as liquidity goes. So let's take a look. If we're going to do a put, step 2 put, we're looking at a couple months out. So January, February, March. Let's look at the March Monthly expiration. Let's take a look there. I always like to have all the strikes. Looking at the puts, and generally about a 60-70 delta is what we're looking at. So we could take a look at this guy. Plenty of, again, it's Apple, right? Look at that open interest, 18,000. Bid-ask spread, fantastic. So that could be what you're looking at. You buy one put on Apple, it's going to cost about $1,000 right now, at least. That could change by the time you're looking at the move down later on. But if that thing moves down to, what do we say, about 120 or so? So right around there, you could be looking at a potential $1,000 profit. I mean, they can always mess with the premiums. I'm sorry. Can always mess with the premiums, but the reality is if you got in at the right time and it goes down to 120, it should be a profitable trade as long as it's managed properly. So there's the potential there for a pretty good return if the market turns down and if Apple turns down as well and you get in at the right time and everything. So all right, Marcelo, I see you on. Thank you so much. Let's take a look at Shopify, see what we can find. All right, Shopify, I believe, let's see here. Yeah, they were getting killed for a while. I mean, Shopify used to be one of those, big ones that was just doing a lot. And look at this. This is kind of cool, right? He's coming back down here, makes its low October 13th, then starts to zoom in a little bit there. High, slightly higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, and a little bit more of a pullback, maybe starting to move up again here as well. Right now using the 200 simple as resistance. So Marcel, if we were to find that Shopify has a nice clear up candle, breaks that 200 simple moving average that's acting as resistance last few days on some higher volume, there's the potential there for a pretty decent trade. Of course, we don't know that it would work. You would still have to set a stop out. You'd still have to manage it properly, take your profits where needed. But I mean, if it were to do that, say tomorrow, and you got in at about 38.30, where's the profit target you're looking at? You could look at maybe even just 43. Like, well, that's not that much. Well, it doesn't look like that much on the screen, but a $5 move, if you get in at 38.30, what is that, about 13% or so? So that's pretty good. That's pretty good. I mean, you could even just do a step one stock trade, over 10% on a stock trade in a few days, few weeks. Those are good numbers to be working with right there. So good find on Shopify. I like how it came down, of course. You just don't like to see that necessarily unless you can catch some bearish trades in there. But then just how it just kind of flattened out a little bit and is starting to make some higher highs and higher lows. That's pretty cool to see. But just keep in mind, we still want to see it break that 200 simple. Because if the market turns around tomorrow and Shopify is like, nah, I'm not going to go against the market, and it starts heading down, it wouldn't be unreasonable, or it wouldn't be surprising to see this thing come back down to this 24 level, a low, right? But at that point, if it does that and then starts to move up, you could be looking at this big W pattern. So we'll see. Too early to tell, but a good one to look at. All right, Benjamin, we're going to take a look at Hood. Robinhood, that is. Oof. I'll keep my opinions to myself. All right, Robinhood. It kind of, let's do a 3-year weekly. Okay, yeah. So they IPO'd not that long ago, came down quite a bit. At least they're flattening out, right? I would say initially it looks kind of like Shopify in a way. Let me get a better cross section. I'm just going to zoom in right about there. But I would say I like the Shopify chart better. That's a pretty nasty move after earnings. Always look at that, guys. I mean, oh, green earnings looks great, right? Well, it just means they, in this case, when you look at it, the numbers, well, they didn't lose as much money as they thought they would lose. So you look at all these earnings are on the negatives. I mean, Robinhood, they're just not profitable yet. They're not. Shopify, I didn't even look at their numbers, but yeah, they're profitable. It was small. The last couple weren't. So that's something to keep in mind too on Shopify. I didn't even look at that before, but your earnings are going the wrong direction with Shopify. So it wouldn't even be wrong to hold off and see what this earnings does on February 15th. But yeah, Robinhood, at least it's kind of basing, it's stopping its tanking, but it didn't have a whole lot more downward motion to go. But yeah, I would want to see this thing really turn around, make some clear higher highs, higher lows before I'd want to jump into this guy. Yeah, Marcel saying I was analyzing as you saw it, so just cross-check. Yeah, it's perfect. That's perfect, Marcel. It's always good to get a second pair of eyes on things. That's fantastic. All right, guys, we're going to finish it up with PRI, Primerica. And okay, here we go. Here's one that's a nice uptrend here. Clearly making higher highs and higher lows. Let's see. I don't know if we can get a line that works here. That potentially could be a line right there with a slight anomaly down below. Usually if you see an anomaly on one section, you might see it on the other section too. That might be, okay, that might be a slight anomaly on the upside and then followed by a slight anomaly on the downside. That's probably pretty close on the lines right there. So nice looking pattern. Obviously had a good reversal from when it had come down and then started making higher highs, higher lows again. You can see how earnings 211, 286, 302, I mean, it's a growth stock at this point, right? The last couple have just been higher than the previous one. But where is this thing technically in its pattern? It's in the middle of the channel. So that's going to be a little bit of a tough one, right? If it's in the middle of its channel like that, it's not at a buy point. But, keep an eye on this guy. What if it makes that higher high again, comes back down, you get past earnings, hopefully it's, better earnings even than the last one. And then it comes down, bounces off this line once again. There's the possibility of a decent trade in there. So yeah, that was a good one to look at as well. Probably not anything to do with right now, but in the future, there's possibilities there. All right, guys, this has been a good one. Thank you so much for being on. Benjamin, Marcel, thank you for your participation and throwing tickers in there. It certainly is a lot better with all that. Guys, want to let you guys know about something. I'm always going to provide opportunities for you as well, right? So this Saturday at 11 a.m. Oh, wait, no, I'm sorry, not Saturday. So whatever the 17th is, probably Tuesday. I should have looked that up. Yes, Tuesday morning on the 17th at 11 a.m. Central Time. We've got a Legacy Builders webinar. This is free for you guys, and this is talking about our new 10 Gen program. So it's a brand new program. We launched it second half of last year. And guys, this program, I mean, it really can help you set your family up for generations to come. So there's really some very unique things in there in that program that you're not going to find anywhere else. You can find some similar things, but you're not going to find the exact package put together neatly how we have it set up. So, it's designed to be able to truly leave a legacy for your family for generations to come. Come check it out. Free webinar. So there's that. And we're going to see you guys next week. Same time, same place. I'll be here with you. Look forward to it. Thanks, guys.